Elbow Woods High School, 1942 State Class B champion.
I think the Elbow Woods team was a team that was about 20 or 30 years ahead of its time.
Because Elbow Woods is a really tight-knit community, and it was like Camelot. It could have been a dynasty for so many things, and it was just taken away with the building of the Garrison Dam.
In a way, it's kind of a haunted landscape, a very radical change that has occurred in that landscape. It's just a whole lot different than it was.
He was very proud of the story that took place, and at that young age he was very proud that they made it to state as Native Americans and that the ball playing was very top-notch.
If memory serves me right, it was like 15 cents or something to get in the game. Well, we were poor, didn't have 15 cents. I wanted to get in. I found a bathroom window partially open. I climbed through the bathroom window and got myself a spot to watch them. And the first thing I remember, they seemed like men really compared to the team that beat them. And they were good athletes. My biggest memory of the game, they could run forever.
The story of the 1941-42 Elbow Woods, North Dakota high school basketball team begins in the fall of 1941, prior to America's involvement in World War II. Their story might now be largely forgotten, except for a bizarre twist in the 1942 state championship game, coupled with the tragic aspect of what eventually happened to this small town on the Fort Berthold Reservation. The story you're about to see is one of loss and victory and 60 years of struggle and perseverance. A time when people believed in honesty, a time when perhaps people showed their feelings less freely, but felt them no less deeply.
The town was named Elbow Woods, which makes a lot of sense. It's a visual thing, an elbow in the woods. And the Missouri River in that location flowed southward from like what's now Williston. So the Missouri River was flowing southward, and then it makes that bend and goes eastward. And in that bend of the river then is where the community of Elbow Woods was established. The population probably would have been maybe 200. Well, the town of Elbow Woods really, I think the best classification would be an Indian agency was there, and that was sort of the hub. And but it was not incorporated as such in that we did not have a mayor or a city council or anything like that. It was totally government.
My father lost his parents at a very, very early age, and as a young boy, he, among other things, herded horses on the reservation. He went up to the Indian reservation and got a job, and from that he loved horses all of his life. But in the process of doing that, later in life, he said to me, I want to take you back up to see the friends I have on the Indian reservation. And we drove to the Fort Berthold Reservation, and we drove into Elbow Woods, North Dakota. And I have memories of it as a young boy, driving into this little town, about the same size as my hometown of Regent, North Dakota, several hundred people. It was quiet, pretty little community.
We were the first farmers of North Dakota. Squash, corn, beans, watermelon, a number of crops, and we grew them in the fertile bottomlands.
I've seen pictures of Elbow Woods, but I know they had a clinic, they had a main street, they had stores, and our grandparents lived around the surrounding area of Elbow Woods. They didn't have diabetes. Everything was there, like coal to heat your house, and they grew their own gardens. They hunted. Deer was plentiful.
You know, things were good. The economy was good. People were happy, you know, and people were lawful, you know. To me, it was like heaven.